Or, you know, what I would like to see is an hour-long dramatic thing, you know, in animation, in prime time. But God, Gargoyles really has all the scope of a film, a very large film. It could have been a live action or animated. Pardon me. And I think that's what they should have done. I love that show.
So if you do, let us know.
You know, I know somebody who does that. He's a client of my agent. And I can't remember his name right now, I'm so embarrassed. But I just met him last week, and I'm like, you do gargoyles? I get really silly when I meet people who do commercial, do cartoon voices. I met Captain Planet not long back. You guys watch Captain Planet? The power is yours! Come on, say it again, say it again! do you have any 8x10s? Not of you, of Captain Planet, I need one. I'll walk to your car with you. I read him in an audition, I was like, you're Captain Planet, wow. Is it true I shouldn't run my air conditioner in my car? Does it really need to be on?
How old were you when you played Mouse, and why did yourself you can bring to that role, or did they tell you, you know, you have to read the line this way, you have to do this exactly?
See, that's the thing. One thing that happens when you're doing television is that nobody ever tells you what to do at all. You spend all of your time with... And I had a couple of major blessings when I started doing Beast, in that Tom Wright was directing Shades of Grey, which was my first episode, and George R.R. Martin had written it. And I knew both of them from The Twilight Zone that I had done with them. And that helped out a lot because it was, you know, Mouse is not, I mean, your normal thing, you know, on television, you don't, how do I put this exactly? You don't have to prepare all that much to play most people on TV. You kind of come in and you go, oh yeah, okay, so he's the guy who used to date her and he runs into them and he's, okay, yeah, let's do it. You know, I'm not saying that it's good or bad, I'm just saying that, you know, the characters are, you're not playing Hamlet usually. And the characters are usually, you know, it's not Hamlet. But with Beauty and the Beast, it was a whole different thing. And Mouse was, you know, the sort of character that I would have loved to have had 6 weeks to rehearse, like, for the theater. But we had no time at all. And I got the script on like a Friday night, and Monday morning we were shooting the trial scene. And I had things to do all weekend, you know what I mean? So, you sort of show up and try to put it together. And piecing it together, yeah, a lot of it came from me. And nobody ever told me what to do much. I mean, most of it was, you know, we were fortunate in that a lot of it was on the page with Beauty and the Beast, compared to, you know, 99% of all writing, but especially in television, the script actually meant something, and the characters were actually alive and apparent when you read them, you know. I knew that I had some very strange work to do just from reading it. But there was, you know, a lot of work that I would have liked to have spent a long time. But basically, we had that day to establish the character. I drew some from my niece, who's very mechanically oriented in a sort of improvisational way, like Mouse. And some from another friend who reminds me of Mouse a little bit, and some from an autistic friend of mine, who Mouse reminds me of quite a bit, or vice versa. And the rest are just sort of made up. And then you sort of do it that day, and then it's like, oh, well, now I'm sort of stuck with those decisions for the next 3 years here. There was a lot of respect on that set, so very few, you know, very, 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 very rarely were any of us told exactly how to do something. But on the other hand, we never ever messed with the lines because the lines were what they were the text. A lot of times, a lot of television shows, the lines are sort of, well, this is what you're supposed to say, and how exactly you go about saying it, you might want to do it. On Fame, we improvised an awful lot, and we changed things because, you know, they're like, you're the kids, you know how it's supposed to sound, and, you know, make it sound like kids. And so we would say whatever we wanted a lot of the time. But on Beauty and the Beast, it was a text that we respected, and you know, we followed it very closely, and most of the clues that we needed to get through it were in the script, which is how it's supposed to be. And we also had very lovely directors like Thomas Wright, and Gus, and yeah, well, you know, just all of them were wonderful. All of our directors were wonderful. Yes, I will just go ahead and say all of them. And the other actors were wonderful too. And you know, I think what I drew up the most off of, and I do very frequently, I mean, most of the time, I mean, my boots and my clothes and the set were the things that really gave me that quick education on what the character was supposed to be, the context he was coming in. A lot of times the art direction has a lot to do with it. On a show like Beauty and the Beast, it was like entering another world. When you went onto the set, you know, and even though I didn't know much about what the show was to be like when I walked in, you saw the set and you went, oh, we live here. We're not normal. Go ahead and take risks. I'd never seen a picture of Vincent that day. You know, I had no idea what he was like. I didn't see him until we were actually on camera. Rather shocking. It was really shocking. There he was. I was like, ah! And I took Ron aside, and I also hadn't met Ron. And I didn't see him out of his makeup for weeks on end after that. But I took him aside and I said, you have to show me where you start and where the makeup is, because I can't tell, and it's kind of bothering me. You know, how much is mask? Because even, you know, usually with makeup, when you're close up, you go, oh yeah, look, you know, it's a bunch of latex and they put makeup on it, they painted it, right? You know, yeah, okay, it's not as good as on TV. Vincent was better than on TV, you know, and right up like this, doing a close-up, it's like I'm talking to a lion man. It's very, very convincing, and very easy to go into the fantasy. It didn't take much work at all. After all the artists had been there, you know, a lot of clues in that. And Judy's clothes really fed the character a lot. When I first came in and got the first fitting with Judy, I'd nedo seen anybody do it like the old school. Judy did it like they did in the old studios. Go in and she'd show you a watercolor sketch of your costume with the swatches stapled to it and everything, you know, like you see in the old movies, you know. You'll be wearing this fabulous gown by Ava, you know. And it was like that. She was like, you'll be wearing this, and she showed me the drawing. I'd never seen anything like it. I was very impressed. But a few of the things about the clothes, I was like, you know, I thought, because I'm kind of, you know, I have a science fiction-y background, and, you know, like when you see a new species on a science fiction show, you always look and you're like, yeah, well, I mean, it looks neat, but what's that nose really for? Why would it evolve a nose like that? No species would evolve like that, except that it looks neat. You know what I mean? And some of the clothes, I was like, well, it looks neat, but it looks a little designed. But everything that I thought that about, I found out there was a reason for it. The elbow patches, I thought they looked so scholarly, and I was like, well, I don't know about that. Then when we got around to doing Fever, I found out that if you're living in the tunnels, you do find yourself crawling along with your elbows. And so those leather patches were not just something that Judy dreamed up to look good. She thought out very fully what it was like to live in the tunnels and what we might need to wear. And so she, you know, in shades of gray, all those leather fringes. I was like, okay, leather fringes. I was with Bon Jovi. And then we're doing the scene, and there's flashlights, and there's toolbox, and there's Linda, and there's all this stuff. And Tom just keeps loading me up with stuff. I'm like, how am I supposed to handle all this? And he's like, figure out a way. You live in the tunnels. And I looked at the clothes, and I realized, well, I can tie these things to the clothes, and that's what the fringe is there for. And, you know, I begged Judy's forgiveness silently in my mind, forever questioning her as I tied all the tools and flashlights to myself. And I realized what a really damn great job she had done of all of that by thinking so fully through. You know, it's like I needed something on that costume, and it was there way before I would have thought of it.